no hope anyone could hear. But now here we are, united, together.
What?
What's happening?
I don't know.
I just need you to just go on the journey with me.
What journey exactly?
Lean into the crazy. Just lean in. Lean in. It's so much fun on this side of the table.
Is it?
Hey, friends.
Hey, friends.
Do you want to try that again? Like you're excited to be here?
I'm still processing what's happening with you.
Hey, boy. What do you mean?
On the side of the crazy that you've chosen to be on.
Like I said, just lean in. It's so much more fun on this side. You will have a good time. You will have a great time.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
I'm happy. I'm going to stay on the saner side of things.
You mean the boring side of things?
And then we say it is a judgment-free zone. But Cassandra is basically...
It's not judgment. It's an observation.
Judgment.
It's an observation.
You're saying that the way I'm choosing to live my life, insanity, is boring.
Wow. The way you're choosing to live your life?
Yes.
That's not the way I said that
Literally
at
what
all.
you've just said.
Adding words into my mouth.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Leave
Me
Me
Alone.
Alone.
I'm
working on
working
it. I don't even know
it.
where her camera... Like, we're in a new room.
We're in a new room.
I'm
new studio.
figuring
new
it
things.
out.
Yeah. So, have you ever received a bad gift?
What?
Like, of course, someone's presented you with a present and you're just like, thanks.
Many times.
Tell me about a time.
Oh, yo.
Tell me about a time you got a gift and it was not a good gift.
Do I want to?
Yes, you do. Spill
I
the
really
tea. Spill
want
the
to?
tea. Spill the tea.
Nah, I'm not doing it. I'm choosing to preserve
Okay, I'll tell you about
current
a time.
relationships.
Okay, I'll tell you about a time.
Because it's your relationship.
It's my relationship?
It's my relationship with you.
Oh, okay, then go. Go. Tell me. Go. You can't do that. You can't
need to preserve the sanctity
You cannot
of Leave Me Alone.
No,
I'm working on
I'm
it.
so sorry. You cannot drop a bomb like that. I'm not
Weren't
going to be
you
offended.
about to tell me a story?
I was, but
you
now
tell me the story.
Here we are. Tell me.
Cassandra, can you tell your
me.
story?
Can you tell me
I
your
don't
story?
have one. I lied.
We will stop recording right now. Until you tell the story.
No, you tell the story.
Tell the story.
Of course not. I was kidding. I just said that to get a reaction out
Good
of
grief,
you.
she's such a terrible liar. Isn't she just such a terrible liar?
I said that to get a reaction
Okay, so
out of
I'm going to
you.
tell my story, then you are going to tell your story.
Yes, but what if it's not you that's the story? I will tell a
Good
a
grief.
story.
Okay. So, I once received a gift from someone, and it was like a model, like build your own, like train. And it was like, there was like wood and there was glue and like it took hours to just like pull this thing together. And then I tried to do it also because I don't know, puzzles are fun sometimes. And then when I put it fell apart. It was just a bad
How old
gift.
were you when you got this gift?
I must have been like 17, 18.
Okay.
So bad in every way.
Was this from the parental unit?
No, it was not from the
Okay.
parental unit.
Okay.
It was from someone else. Okay.
But why would they buy you a build your own train set?
It's like they've never met me, but they, but they had known me for a very long time, and it was a bad gift. Okay, it was a bad gift. Okay, and I just was like, oh, okay, well, that's not so.
Thanks.
Thank you.
But here's the thing. What did you do though?
When I got the gift?
Yeah, when you got the gift, what did you do?
Well, when I got the gift, because I can't control my face. So when
This
I
is true.
unwrapped it, I was just like, okay. I forgot. So I was just like, okay. And then my dad was so upset with me because he was like, I know that it's a bad gift, but you don't show it on your face. Like,
Oh,
you
your
don't do it.
parents were present.
My parents were present. My brother was there. He was also like, this is so weird. It was a weird time.
Wait,
It was a
why
bad
wasn't
time.
this a gift that's given to your brother even? Like, wouldn't it have been maybe...
Not as both of us. Everybody was confused. My dad was upset with me because I
Can I
couldn't
tell
keep
you
it
what
together.
I think happened?
Tell
I
me.
think this person re-gifted you a gift that they got.
Mm.
It's like that episode of Big Bang Theory where Bernie and Howie give Penny and what's his face? Leonard this prism thingy, glass thingy majig that they didn't know what it was for their wedding.
Oh, I remember
And then when
that
Sheldon and Amy were getting married, they're like, we don't know what it is and we
There
don't know
you
what to
go.
do with it, and they give it to them.
Yes.
I think it's what
You
happened
think I got
to you.
re-gifted?
I think you got re-gifted.
I think I got re-gifted.
I think you got re-gifted. That's why it didn't make sense to anybody.
Interesting. Because we were very confused. Anyway, so anyway, that was the one time.
You saw this thing in my house.
If you don't tell me the story about me,
there is no story.
I will be mad.
I don't know what she wants from me.
The truth.
You saw this
I
thing.
want the truth.
Oh. You saw this thing in my house the other day, and you were like, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, someone gave me this." And you were like, "Yeah, because there's no way you bought this."
Yeah.
It's like an
It's like
ornament?
a paperweight.
Is
but
it?
It's, yes.
It's really big though.
It's really big. It's like a paperweight, and it's these like golden hearts that interlock with each other. And I was just like, in no world. I looked at this. I was like, in no world did Ore buy this. Like, in no world did she purchase this thing.
And then you were like, wait, and I received this like 3 years ago or something, as a gift, and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was like it was obviously a well-meaning gift, and it came in a set of other things, and like the other things were really good.
Yeah.
But this one thing, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to toss it because I was like, someone put energy and money and effort into getting me this thing. So I didn't even know it was a paperweight. I just thought it was like an ornament. So I hid it.
I hid it.
Behind,
you gave it purpose. You gave it purpose.
A mirror.
It was there, and it acted as a stand.
You've never
for something.
seen it. You've been in my house.
But what I'm saying is that like you gave it purpose. Like you didn't just like
hidden purpose. Yeah, because yeah.
Anyway, okay. So the next question I have for you is, do you know how to be wrong?
Do I know how to be wrong?
Do you know how to be wrong? Like you're in an argument, you're wrong.
No, I don't know how to be wrong. I'm so sorry. I don't know how to be wrong. I am exiting that argument the moment it feels like this thing is going. I'm out. Tap out.
You're tapping out.
Tapping out.
You're tapping out.
I don't know how to be wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't know how to be wrong. Why?
No, I think it's just because this is something that I've been unpacking lately, because there's been like a lot of feedback,
Oh.
that is coming my way, and different people with different ideas and different inputs on me, on my life, on what it should look like, on what it should be like, on what it should sound like.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep having this thing in my mind where everyone's like, feedback is a gift. Feedback is a gift. Feedback is a gift. And like, it's something that we say it at work
You
all
do say it
the
at work all the time.
all the
Yeah.
time, all the time, all the time. And I believe that there's merit behind it. But my whole thing about feedback being a gift is that not all gifts are good, gifts.
Yeah, I agree.
Not all gifts are good gifts. Anyway, so but it also requires this little bit of like what the whole thing with feedback, what part of this is me, what part of this is like, what am I going to take, what am I going to leave behind of this feedback. Anyway, so growing up, like in school, like I was at school, I did a lot of debating. Okay, so debating, competed, did all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
I think like the whole point of debating is to win the argument. Okay, and you make the other team look really bad. You make them look like they don't know what's up. They don't know what's plotting.
Yeah.
That's the point of debating, right? And you just don't concede. And because our team did very well at what we did, it kind of became this thing where like in my mind, like I was ready with the argument at every step of the way. Like someone would come up to me and be like, "Oh, you did this." I'd be like, "No, because points 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6." Do you know what I mean? Like absolutely rocking everyone. And then I'd go home and I went home and I was having a conversation with my dad and we got into a big disagreement and I started like arguing. And then he got so upset with me because he was like, "Cassie, you're wrong. You are wrong. Like, and it's okay. It's okay that you're wrong, but you're wrong. And you need to learn to accept that." And I was really taken aback. And a lot of the feelings that I was feeling was like, well, I don't like this feeling.
That
I'm
I don't
the
like
one
it over here.
that's wrong. Like, I don't like this feeling that I must concede or that there's something that I need to now go and fix and work on and go and do, you know? So I've just been thinking a lot about that. And so they say this thing is, you know, feedback is a gift. And I think it's true that feedback ultimately will make you better. But I think it's important that we unpack, like, when do we take the feedback? When do we not take the feedback? So, yeah.
I feel like it's sort of that thing where it's like, you know how they say, run away from giving unsolicited advice. And the reason they say that is because when nobody has asked you, it's not your business. That advice is often not welcome.
Yeah.
I think it's almost sort of the same thing with feedback.
Yeah.
Like sometimes the reason why feedback isn't taken or accepted, it's not because it's bad.
Yeah.
It's just nobody asked you. Mind your business.
I know.
Because sometimes, like, especially for me, if I'm in the process of figuring something out, like I know I'm not there, I know I don't have it, and I'm in the process of like learning or unlearning or relearning or whatever, and I'm trying and failing, and you arrive with your feedback, I'm like, mind your business, leave me alone. Like at that point in time, I am the least receptive to anything anybody wants to say.
This is actually a really good point.
I can't hear you.
It's like receiving feedback and giving feedback is also about knowing when the feedback needs to be given. That's actually
like,
a very good point.
Let me get through, because if you can see that I'm working through something, don't give me feedback. Like you're complicating the situation for me. Let me get through the trial, the thing that I'm currently doing, and then give me feedback to be like, actually, if you try it this way, maybe. And then I can go back and try that. But in the middle of it, my brain is focused. No, mind your business. Go away.
So is it one of those things, I'm trying to unpack this. Is it one of those things where it's like, even if the people around you can see that what you're doing is the hard way, you would much rather them leave you to go through it the hard way, and then we talk about it afterwards?
If I've already started it, leave me alone. If I haven't, and I'm still like,
ideating.
How do I start? Ideating, exactly. You can be like, do you want to try it this way? And I can be like, oh yeah. But once I've gone into it, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. So anything you're doing is just background noise.
That you're choosing not to.
I really can't, because my brain, I'm consumed by this thing that I'm doing, and the only thing that gets me out of it is I need to complete it, win or lose. Like, I need to just go through it. So at that point, you yapping in my ear, you're just making noise and it's irritating me.
Not yapping in my ear.
Like I'm just like, go. It's like a mosquito.
Wow.
And it's annoying. So like, you need to let me. I know I'm weird. I'm sorry.
No, it's not about being weird. It's your process.
In that moment, I need to just, and then after that, I can hear the feedback.
I think that there's something interesting there as well, because like I'm the opposite in the sense that like I welcome the ideas throughout the process. I'm like, why don't we try this? What if someone's like, hey, I see you doing this, like, why don't you try a different way? I'm like, oh, tell me more. Like unpack that for me a little bit more. And I think that there's pros and cons to both of these situations.
Yes, of course.
Right? Because for me, the con is that because I'm too open to feedback, I can get so distracted from the thing, because someone's like, why don't you try this? But the reality is that person doesn't have the background of what it is I'm trying to do, doesn't know the goal of where I'm like, where I'm trying to go. And that now I'm like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, let's explore that. Let's see. But it's going like way off the beaten path, you know?
Because for me, it's like I need to finish the thought process.
Yeah.
Like we don't know if it'll work or not. Let me arrive at the end point. It might work. It might not. But if you're trying to tell me now to not continue, I'm like, but you don't know. I need to find out for myself.
But what if the person who's giving you feedback is someone who is like not an expert, but is someone who's knowledgeable about the situation?
Where was your feedback before I went on this journey? Now I've spent money, now I've spent time, now I'm invested, now I'm exhausted. Where was your feedback before I went on this journey? Nah, girl, keep your expertise to yourself. We started it, we are seeing it through. What you mean?
Okay.
So,
I mean, interesting. I have learned so much about you in this process. I've learned so much about you in this process. But yeah, okay. So I think we're both in alignment that feedback ultimately makes you better.
Yeah.
But it's about it's about what you do with the feedback and how you process it, how you manage it. That's ultimately going to be like the key driver of your success or whatever. Now, I wanted to go through some things that I have found helpful when dealing with feedback.
Okay.
And number one, I think it's a little bit of where you're coming from as well. Is like trust your gut as well. Like trust that, you know, if someone is giving you a piece of feedback and it feels like valuable, trust that. But if it doesn't feel valuable, trust that as well.
I think that's actually what has happened to me. And I'll even give an example using LMA. When we first launched and we were working with our team.
Feedback is
lols. And there was this, Michaela, we love you. I love you. This is not about you.
MJ.
There was a design that Michaela did, and a lot of what Michaela does is stunning. It's beautiful.
It's incredible.
And there was this one she did. I think it was maybe the second one she done, and I didn't like it. I did not like it. I thought it was. I just thought it was too much. Like it wasn't the one.
Yeah.
But I was like, we just started working. I don't want her to feel like we don't appreciate what she's doing, whatever. So I was trying to not say what my gut feeling was.
I see.
And my gut feeling was like, this is not going to do well. This is not the one. It's not the one. And when we put that thing out, it didn't do well. And then I was beating myself up about it. I was like, I knew it was the wrong thing. But when I talked about, oh, can we change this? What about this? The feedback I got was, no, usually this kind of thing does this kind of thing does. And I chose to take in that feedback and ignore my gut. And then after I was like, I should have just followed through and be like, you know what, it's fine, I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, or like, no, let's try it this way. And if it fails, at least I know that I'm the one who screwed up. Yes. But I didn't do that. So I think what you're saying is true, because sometimes it's just, I already have a lot of self-doubt, especially in the creative process.
Ooh,
so I'm already struggling with, is it good enough? Am I good enough? Now you come with feedback in the middle of me trying to, there's a very real chance that instead of helping, the feedback will only compound my self-doubt even more in that minute. Because it's like, you're not even letting me finish the thought process. You're already telling me it's not good enough.
Got it. Sure. Can I ask, because one of the things I've got here is like the key thing for me on feedback is not to internalize it.
Oh, that's a good one.
Like, don't internalize it, because what you're saying is you give me feedback and it compounds my self-doubt.
Yeah, but like in the moment.
No, I'm with you. But like for me, and I've had to learn this as well, still learning it all the time, is that when someone gives you a piece of feedback, okay, and I'm going to dive into this later, because it's also about who is giving you feedback.
Giving you feedback,
okay, and we'll get into that. But if someone's giving me a piece of feedback and it's someone that I love and that I trust, like it's not them. The journey is also for me to go, this is not them saying, Cassie, you are bad at this. The journey is for me to go, okay, I trust that they're ultimately trying to help me make this thing better. You know? And so I think to not internalize stuff is a key something to work on. And as you work on your level of, like, for me at least, as I worked on my level of like emotional intelligence, it becomes a lot easier to discern those two things.
I understand that. I think the issue there is, it's not that, fine, we trust the person giving the feedback. Yeah. And you need, and yes, I agree with you, and not internalizing it, which is difficult.
It's so hard. And I think you touched on something that's super, super important, because in the creative process, that's so much harder.
It's so much harder.
It's so much harder, because if I'm doing more left brain stuff, which is the sciences or the maths or the, I don't know, like, one plus one is
right
two.
Answer.
Like,
exactly.
there's one right outcome. Like, if we do the thing in the science and we mix this chemical and this chemical and it explodes, that's the wrong thing to happen.
Yeah.
You know, but in the creative process,
it's open to interpretation.
It's open to interpretation. I can write something and I can write an iteration. And the third iteration is actually the best iteration. And the fifth one is the worst. And like the back and the fourth and the understanding what is good and what other people will perceive to be good. It's so much harder.
Yeah.
It's so much harder.
Yeah. It is much harder. And I struggle with that a lot. And I used to be that person who was like, oh, I'm not precious about my work.
But I mean, understanding that is the first step of self-awareness. So points for you.
Lol.
Snaps.
I am very, very, very precious. And now, I mean, and I'm even like on a small scale. So now I understand, like with directors and artists.
When they have an idea.
And they're so precious about that. Don't touch it. Don't fix it. Don't add a comma. Don't do nothing. Put it down. Now I understand. Because before I was just like, oh God, it's not that deep. It's not that deep. No, now I understand. Okay. I see why.
The other thing, and this is something a good friend of mine, her name's Amanda, she's always said to me, is that when someone gives you feedback, you need to learn to chew on the meat and spit out the bone.
You've said this to me.
Right? Learn to chew on the meat and spit out the bone, because someone might give you a piece of feedback and they might compact it in a certain way, and it might be parts of what they're saying that are good and that make sense, and other parts where you're like, nah, like that part, not gonna work. So I think like learning to chew on the meat, learning to spit out the bone, and the identification of what is meat and what is bone is a key process of
I think the
of
most
managing
important
feedback.
thing, and I don't want to jump because you said you were going to get there.
Yeah, but
it's
go.
who is giving you the feedback.
100%.
Because as you were saying, you need to learn to chew on the meat, spit out the bones. In my head, I'm just like, yeah, but if I don't even like you, I don't even trust you. Why are you here?
100%.
Why are you speaking to
100%, 100%. But for me, it's like I don't know. I'm trying to think of an example, but like if someone's like, you're rocking a formula, because now I've done the maths thing. You're rocking a formula, and then someone's like, go, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, if you do this, and like points 2 and 4 make sense, but points 1 and 3, you're like, nah, they don't. Like for me, it's even if the feedback comes from someone you back like fully, it's about. Not all of it might be worth acting on.
Yes.
Right? Not all of it might be worth acting on.
But I'm saying that it's easier to not be. It's easier to be receptive and to separate what's useful and what's not in the feedback when you trust the source.
Yeah. No,
for
sure.
Versus when you don't.
100%.
Like if it's someone that you think it just
100%
has beef for you, like no matter what you do, it's not good enough. You already are shut down before the feedback even arrives.
100%. But this is the whole thing. Feedback is a gift, but not all gifts are good gifts. And I think there's that saying that's like, give me 1 second. I wrote it down. It's this idea of like, don't take feedback from someone you wouldn't take advice from.
There we go. Yes.
I read that and I was like, yeah. Because oftentimes you can, I'm the kind of person who's like, give me feedback. And that's good and bad, because if I'm seeking feedback from everybody, the insights and inputs that I'm going to get are going to be honestly from their perspective and from where they are coming from. Now, if I'm not inspired by you or aspire to be like you or a part of you, why would I want to learn from you? Do you know what I mean? Like if there's not something, if there's a part of you, like if I wouldn't go to you for advice, why would I go for you for input on my project, on my work, on my
more often
relationship,
than not, you
on my
don't
life?
go to those kinds of people for input. They arrive.
Fair, but that's exactly the point,
you need
right?
To be able to
you wouldn't go to them,
out.
but they're gonna be like, "Hey, leave me alone. I'm working on it. We've got some thoughts and some
my
ideas on
goodness.
how you can make your podcast
Do you know
better.
what's the worst thing? It's the people who didn't support you, the people who told you weren't good enough, the people who have always looked down on you,
Always look down on you, arriving to be like, oh,
when you've got a teeny tiny bit of success,
Teeny
to
tiny.
now want to tell you how to run
and
your
now
life.
suddenly out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? Yeah. So like I really, it was like a aha moment for me.
You know, I think it's important. Like if you're not going to take advice from this person, then
Why would
also
you accept their feedback?
don't take feedback from
Why would
them.
you accept their criticism?
Like, okay, this is what you feel, but
Yeah.
it does nothing for me. Like it means nothing to me. And it's difficult because in that moment, I'm ready to fight now. I'm like, what do
Your
you mean?
inner debater comes
Yes,
out.
I'm like ready to fight. But I think the more important, the better thing to do is, because I don't even value you or your input, then I shouldn't even rise with that energy to entertain it.
Yeah.
It's just like, thank you.
The worst is when
and you keep it pushing.
The worst is when it just keeps arriving.
Yeah.
Like I also have someone who constantly just shows up in my space, in my work, in my life with input, with feedback that nobody asked for, that this person is not the expert on either, but has many ideas on how things should be done because they believe that they're God's gift to my work.
I remember this. I was in university.
And it's so hard. It's so hard.
Yes. As you were saying this, I remember now being in uni and this person, like I had just started in media. So like I was hosting events, I was an MC, you know, what. And people got to know me. And I remember this person who I actually did respect at the time and valued. That was the day it ended for me. Him arriving to give me feedback on my personal life, to be like, I know that you are succeeding now and it looks like everything is good, and like the way I'm seeing it, you could go far with this, you know, if you keep at it, what. And then proceeds to say, but I think you need to get a serious relationship now and lock it down. Because if you succeed the way you potentially could, you're not going to find a man who's going to marry you.
Sir, sit down. Nobody asked you. Sit down. Sit down. What are you saying?
I was like,
what
20.
also gives you the right
to arrive and tell me,
who
I
are
was
you?
like 20. I'm figuring my life out. I was in uni. I had just moved from biochemistry to
The way you
psychology.
were
I was
20
doing
years
media.
old.
And why are we talking about, like, why is this the advice you have arrived to give to me? Like, oh, you're doing well. Like, your career is doing well. But, because you know, at that point, when he starts this chat, I think he wants to give me feedback on, like, my skills or, like, networking or that sort of thing. And then you proceed to give me feedback on my non-existent relationship. I'm just like... So at that point,
I'm silent because I'm...
At that point, I'm
so
like...
mad.
I reject this feedback. And actually, from this point on, I reject any advice that you give me.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I know. It was wild.
But anyway, yeah. Okay. The last thing that I was thinking about is if more than one person has given you a piece of feedback, it's probably you.
Yes!
Like,
Yes!
it's probably you, babes. Like, because you can go through all this process of, like, trusting your gut, not internalizing, chewing on the meat, spitting out the bone. But this piece of feedback just keeps coming from different sources. And again, sources you trust and sources you respect. If it keeps coming, then, babes, I think at some point you need to be like, what part of this is me? I was having a conversation with a friend and the relationship was deteriorating. It wasn't good, you know, and we were trying to repair it, which is good, right?
Or like you and the friend.
You and the friend, yeah.
Okay.
We were trying to repair the relationship, and in the conversation, ironically, one of the things I was trying to explain to him was, like, you're not, like, when the issues we're having, I've brought them up before. Like, I've not, this is not the first time this has happened. I brought it up before, and I gave, like, a couple of examples to, like, support the idea. I also know in the background that other people have given this person the same kind of feedback. And he looked at me and he was just like, Cassie, I know that I'm so good at taking feedback. I've been told this. I know I'm so good at taking feedback. I'm so good at taking feedback.
Okay.
And I was just like, okay. Because at that point, like, what do you want? What must I do?
Yeah.
Right? And so I just feel you have to be, there's an element of you that has to be open, right? But if it's coming at you from more than one place, maybe take a moment.
Because this thing where you just feel, and I know that sometimes the world is against you, but if there's 10 people in your life and you have a problem with all 10 people,
Sure.
all 10,
At some point, you must ask.
At some point, girl, you the problem. Let's not even sugarcoat it. You are the one. Get it together. It's true, because everyone can't have the same issue with you. You're the only constant in that thing. And so and you say, no, the world is against me. No, you need to sit back and just figure out what you're doing wrong.
Yes. No. So you take some time, some self-reflection, some self-awareness. It's going to be important. But going back to this thing with like the debating and being a debater at school, like the whole point of debating is to not concede. Like when you're in the games, I don't know what to call a debating tournament, championship, I can't remember what we called it, but the whole point is don't concede. And throughout your debate, like you're standing up and you're speaking and you're doing all these things, and the team actively stands up to be like, point of information, they're shouting at you all of the pieces of feedback, all of their points on why they're right and you're wrong. The whole point is do not concede, do not concede, do not concede. But the issue with that, in debating, fine, because you need to win the championship, do the things, do the most. But the issue with that kind of thinking is that it ultimately is going to impact the progress of your relationships with people, because what it did is it put a strain on my relationship with my dad, right? Because every time he was trying to be like, why don't you do this? Why don't you do this? I was like, do not concede.
Do not concede,
you know? It can put a strain on your relationship. It could put a strain on, or like have an impact rather on the output of your work. Like it could stop you putting out a piece of something that's actually really excellent. You know, if you don't allow yourself to be a little bit open to the feedback.
I think something to learn, and something that I've been learning to do, is because it rocks me when you arrive with feedback that I didn't ask for. So what I try to do, I'm not good at it, but I'm learning, is to go ask for the feedback on a piece of work.
Yeah.
Because I know that I get rocked when you just arrive to give me feedback. But I do recognize that I do need to receive feedback, because, I mean, constructively, it can help, you know,
of course,
make the work better, show me a different way to do things. So I try to like ask. So like now, like I'll send to you. Like I'll send to Dami. Like I'll send to Deb. I'll send to my sister.
Can I just give you props because you do this and you do it well. You do it well. You do it well. Or it will create something and she'll finish it and then she'll be like, she'll do it sheepishly. She'll be like, Cassie, can you look at this thing? Or like, Dummy, please.
Because I know.
Did you see it? Because
I know that if you just arrive with feedback, it rocks me. So I know that I need the feedback. So now I'm just like, I'll reach out instead.
Got it.
And that works for me.
And that's your process.
Yes, but that works for me beautifully, because then I can reach out to the people I trust. And once they've been like, yes, do this, or this is great. Anybody else can come and say whatever. I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
We've locked it down now. The five people in my circle have said, go for it. I don't care what you say. It's locked. You know?
So the last thing that I was thinking about on this feedback thing is, so sometimes feedback is a gift, not all gifts are good gifts, okay?
I really like that, by the way.
Thank you very much. I thought about it this morning.
Good.
But the other thing is that not only are some gifts not good gifts, some gifts are intentionally malicious.
Yes. Oh,
right.
You know this now because Cassie goes through the world going, I never want to believe that anybody's being intentionally malicious.
I don't want to believe
that there's bad
I'm not saying that it's impossible. I'm just like, I don't want to come into an experience already assuming that you're are bad.
It's not already assuming, but like when the facts in front of you.
When the facts are in front of you, we must.
You still want to be like, but benefit of the doubt.
I know.
Maybe it is malicious, or maybe they didn't start that way, or maybe it will still turn good. And I'm like, girl,
it just
read the receipts.
I know. You're right. You're right. You are right. Because it just makes me sad that people are so mean. Don't be mean. Don't be assholes. Just be good people. Anyway, but you're not wrong, right? Like I think some gifts are also malicious, and people will package something as feedback to ultimately get something for themselves or what it is that they want.
To pull you down, to discourage you, to distract you.
100%.
Just whatever reason, yeah.
And I was reading, as I was prepping for today, like I was reading, like there was this woman, there was a study that was conducted and it was done in the world of corporate, beautiful, wonderful world of corporate. And women were being told, that they were, too intimidating or too overpowering or too much. This was being packaged as feedback. Like it's being packaged as constructive criticism, whereas their male counterparts are being, applauded for the exact same behaviors. And it's not to say that this is malicious, but I think, again, it's just about being very conscious of what you allow yourself to believe when someone comes up to you with a piece of feedback or a piece of criticism.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's it from me. Feedback is a gift only sometimes.
Must we sing it?
I must. That's my process.
Wow.
Accept me
Here's
for
my
me.
feedback. Stop singing.
This is me chewing on the meat and spitting out the bone.
You chewed on nothing because it
the
was
whole
all
thing
bone.
was bone.
Bye, guys. We're done. Bye. Everyone have a great day except this one over here.
I'm going to continue to have a great day. Despite what she says. Thanks so much for joining us on this episode of Leave Me Alone. I'm working on it. Come say hi on socials. We want to know, was there a time you got bad feedback and you acted on it and maybe you shouldn't have? Was there a time you got good feedback and it was amazing and you did something and it was so much better? Your life was improved. Come and tell us on socials. We want to hear about it. You can like, follow, subscribe, comment, do all of those things on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. Okay. Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye, guys. What's happening?
All the energy in the world.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Hey, thanks for listening. Please don't forget to like and subscribe anywhere and everywhere you find your podcasts. Also, you can watch and subscribe on YouTube and follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Okay, love you. Bye.